Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the second day of the 2020 Open Design Africa Virtual Festival. We are live streaming this morning again from the beautiful V&A Waterfront in Cape Town, South Africa. My name is Ellen Fischert, and I'm a proudly African impact entrepreneur and empowerment activist. I am honored to be facilitating the wonderful African journey that we'll be continuing to take you on for the next few days. Yesterday, we kicked off the festival, our virtual festival, with the theme, Africa is Rising. Today, we bring you Global Inspiration Day. Many of you have wondered why we spell Africa with a K. Well, more than 2,000 African languages write Africa with a K. Today, and we see Africa with a C as an external and outside view of Africa. Africa with a K is us as Africans taking ownership of our future and our destiny. It's an inward perspective of our African continent. Please remember, I know you did this yesterday, and I'd like to ask you to continue doing the same. Please remember to tag Open Design Africa and use our official hashtags when you share on social media. Hashtag ODA2020, hashtag Open Design Africa, hashtag Small is Massive. A massive thank you to our sponsors, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, the V&A Waterfront, who is also our host, and in association with Smile FM. I am really excited to introduce you to Steven Bentley. Steven is the V&A Waterfront Harbour Master. Steven is a trained port civil engineer and has been actively involved in harbour construction and the coastal shoreline for most of his adult life. He's been on study programs in Rotterdam, in study programs in Tilburg, and he's been with the waterfront since 2006. But Steven has so many stories to share that I'm going to go right on to start with that. And Steven, good morning. Thank you for making time. Welcome to Open Design Africa. Can you tell us something about the location where we are?
Good morning, Ellen. It's great to be here on the V&A Waterfront, and I really enjoy my job, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. Well, we're situated today on jetty number 2, which is what we used to use as our Cape Town cruise terminal. So, and we're sitting in what was the baggage hall at that time. So all our suitcases and everything was processed through this little small building here, right in the middle of the waterfront.
It's not very big. I can't imagine that all of our luggage was here. Steven, tell me, so we've been talking about how Africa is rising. We've been talking about community. We've been talking about how creativity brings about social change in business, in life, in people's personal journeys. What can you tell me about the social agenda, about communities at the waterfront from your position as a harbour master? What is it we don't know about this?
Well, first of all, the position of a harbour master is a very lonely position because you have to make decisions that are either right or wrong for the person you're addressing. And so you spend a lot of time thinking about that. And with that, it brings you very close to the community of different groups of people that work at the V&A Waterfront. And in my position as harbour master, I can talk about from the ship's agents that bring in the big the cruise ships that come into the harbour, to the other agents who bring the research vessels that dock in the V&A Waterfront prior to going down to the Antarctic. And then we continue on into the established fishing industry. That's the large trawlers that go down south. And you get to know the skippers and the people on board those ships because they go to sea for up to 30 days at times.
Wow.
And when they come back, that captain, that master on that ship wants to go home, see his family. The crew just filter back into the Cape to their little homes to come back 2-3 days later to go fishing. Then we also have the small boat fishing community, and we commonly call it the blue boat fishing industry or the Portuguese community of fishermen.
Okay.
And right outside our door at the moment, there's a fishing boat that went out on Sunday, and she's come back with a full hold of fish that we're going to eat in the next week or two, fresh fish from Cape Town. And they're busy unloading. They're going to prep the boat, do any remedial works on the vessel, and I guarantee by Friday that guy will be back at sea again.
Wow.
With his 12 or 15 crew fishing for hake. The other communities on the waterfront are our charter industry, and that's where people go out. They come down on a Saturday morning and they get on the little boat and they go for a ride around the harbour. But behind all that are people. There's a person looking after the boat. There's a person making sure it's safe to go. There's the tout standing on the quayside selling a ticket, and he's interacting with the public. And he meets so many wonderful people. If you ever stop to talk to the people who work on the waterfront, you'll be amazed at the famous people they've met, at the infamous people they've met, and just the ordinary Cape Townian. I mean, we are a tourist destination, but we are a place for Cape Townians. And as the harbour master here, it's my job to make sure that every Cape Townian gets an opportunity to come down to the waterfront and come to the quayside. And
that's amazing. I mean, all these, the different nationalities, the different people, the different communities. Stephen, tell me, how have you seen this landscape change? I mean, you've been here since 2006
yes,
with the waterfront.
2006 in my position as the harbour master and that, but I've been at the waterfront 2 years prior to the establishment of the waterfront, which was in 1988.
Okay.
And since then I used to work for Transnet, and I was an engineer working on the sector of the harbour, and I worked with my good friend Mr. Ari Burgraaf, and we prepared the Burgraaf report that went to Parliament, and from there the waterfront came about. But one of the important things about that report that was established was that the waterfront would remain Cape Townian. It would be a place for Cape Townians at all times. So that was our original goal. The other one was that we were not going to chase anybody out of the waterfront. We were going to embrace everybody that existed in the waterfront. And
who lived here then?
Yes, and everybody who worked here. And all those people, through some form, have been accommodated. We've relocated businesses, but at the same time, they've got a better premises, they've got a better business, and they've got a better opportunity to do business. And Cape Town and the V&A Waterfront especially is a place to do business.
Yes.
You must come down here and do your business. You know, even if you just got a laptop, come sit somewhere and watch the shipping.
And there's lots of people
and watch
that are
the boating and watch everything else that's exciting going on. It'll give you inspiration to go forward.
You can't be but inspired if you're here. Another question that I have for you, Stephen, is can you tell us something about the creative journey that you've seen? So it's very clear. What I love about the waterfront and what we've been talking about is how creatives are running their businesses from the waterfront. It is a beautiful location. The architecture. Was it always like this? Did you envision that this was what was going to this is what it was going to end up looking like?
Well, you know, things change, and ports have a lifespan of about 35 years, and so the V&A came into existence at the right time. The Alfred and Victoria basins were falling into disrepair, and it was time for regeneration, and the V&A waterfront will eventually reach that 35 years. And yes, it's changed over time, and the waterfront's always supported the small business, the creative side. We had a vessel here called the RSA in the V&A waterfront, which used to go down to the Antarctic, a very, very old vessel. And in our first year, through the inspiration of Professor Cantor and his wife, we opened an art display for Cape Townians that were painting art on the streets. And this was hosted in around about 1989-90 on board the RSA, in all the cabins, in the dining halls and that. And those were all local artists who were painting in St. George's Mall, and we brought them down here to expose the creativity of Cape Town.
Where's the vessel now?
Well, the vessel unfortunately reached its age and it had to go, and it had to be cut up and scrapped. So she is no longer with us.
Tell me something. I mean, now that I've got you, I'm never ever going to have a chance. Tell me something a story you'll never forget. Tell us something about the waterfront that our Open Design Africa virtual listeners will be hearing.
Well, one of the greatest things I ever learned, and it comes out of the town planning aspect, and that was that they spoke about the waterfront in the early days of being right size for right size people. So we don't have monolithic buildings that are huge, and we don't have things that are disrespectful to other buildings. Our buildings complement and support each other. But the biggest thing I learned in the early days was open space for people to be people. And hence you'll walk around the waterfront and you'll see we're made up of squares. And those squares give you the ability to activate. And I'll never forget the early people involved, the architects on the waterfront. They used to fight for spaces because we wanted people to come and bring their creativity to the waterfront and play. And you talk about that. I think of the buskers. There's been hundreds of buskers through this place playing guitars. I'll never forget one of them. There was a person that was not accomplished on the guitar, but played beautiful music, maybe 3 songs. But she had a bowl of sweets in front of her. And the kids would grab the sweets. Mom and dad would listen to the song, and a coin was dropped into the hat for the busker. And those little moments of, coming from the bottom. I have since found out that the lady has succeeded and has become a very successful guitar player.
Oh, really?
and yet when she sat on here, she had to entice people with a bowl of sweets.
Oh, I suppose we all need to start somewhere, right? But we need to start.
Yes.
And it's great that there are platforms and places where we're welcome.
Yes.
The last thing I'd like to ask you, very, very last thing I promise, is everyone at the waterfront talks about placemaking. They talk about neighborhoods. What does that mean to you?
Ellen, that's probably the best journey we've started, is connecting it. Because what it's done is it's brought a lot of our people that work within the waterfront into my environment. Because the shipping environment is very much active, busy, 24 hours a day. You see the people and you don't see the people. And through that, we've drawn everybody open. We've opened up this massive maritime environment. People are now talking fishing. Guys are talking about fishermen. They're no longer the people running down to the docks to get on a boat. And with this whole neighborhood story, we will always have people that need help with us throughout our living life. We'll always need to help someone. But when you do it as a community, you are more impactful. You can get further and go further. And when you start a journey, it's almost like a steam train we've started. We are on our way and we will continue to this. It'll become one of our stepping stones of the V&A Waterfront. When we look back years and years ago, we won't look at COVID-19. We'll look at the good stuff we did during COVID-19. And we'll take those stepping stones and go forward.
Love it. Thank you so
It's a pleasure
very
chatting
much.
with you.
I think that is exactly the sentiment that we have. I love that you said, when you go together, you'll go further.
Yes.
I absolutely love that. And I hope for today that's so. Thank you for that. I'm going to continue on with that for today. So today we are going to, we're calling on Africans, and our Harbour Master, Steven Bentley, also just said that if we go together, we'll go further. Open Africa Design calls on Africans and the world to action small seeds of change everywhere, because collectively change is massive. It is time to rise in solidarity with our African and global neighbors. Today, we have the most important reef design in the history of mankind. We need to design a world that we can all feel proud to live, work, and play in. There has never been a better time than the present to take action, share our stories, and take control of our own destiny. Today, we are going to celebrate the power of African and global creativity and design-led innovation through our design champions, our unsung heroes, and changemakers. We hope that the stories that they will share with you today will unlock greater potential, solutions, and aspirations in all of us to design thriving futures, flourishing environments, and prosperous circular economies. For Global Inspiration Day, we're bringing you our inspirators that are sharing their stories. Through creativity and appropriate innovation, we can impact not only the life of one person, 100, 1,000, maybe even 1,000,000. So I'd like to start with a quote from one of our next speakers. It is a shared guiding principle for all of our next speakers. He says, through building trust, we can accelerate actions that matter. There are causal connections between trust and better outcomes at individual, organization, and country levels. These trust levels inform appropriate strategies so that we have greater impact and we create these thriving futures. I'd like to welcome Dominique Welcome, who is the founder of SA Trust 17. Dominique is the founder of Trust 17, where he works at the intersection of trust strategy and better futures. This involves trust building to accelerate actions that matter. He integrates at a systems level and an approach which is useful for creating fresh perspectives for economic prosperity, human flourishing, and environmental resilience. He is experienced in diversity of public and private sector settings, from multinational purpose-led organizations through impoverished communities in need of basic services. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals informs all of his work. He also consults to the United Nations on various national and international high-impact initiatives. The second speaker that will join us today, and I apologize, Adrian, if I get your name wrong, is Adrian Yankoviak. Adrian Yankoviak. He's from Nairobi, Kenya, and he's the founder of the Nairobi Design Week. Adrian has Polish origin and worked in the UK before he decided to settle more permanently in Nairobi. He is a designer who loves connecting people, ideas, and technologies. His work includes products, services, creative campaigns across the world, spanning new technologies, toys, consumer electronics, furniture, sanitation, events, and experience. He's the founder of the Nairobi Design Week and the host of Africa Design Podcast, a community of platforms that share African design with the world.